World Cup creates heroes, it also creates inflation. One goal can add millions. One knockout performance can turn a quiet inquiry into a bidding war. And in just 1 month, a player can go from useful to untouchable. These 8 names changed their price dramatically in 2026. But the biggest rise belongs to someone almost nobody expected at all. We'll start with Pau Cubarsí because no defender improved his reputation more. Before the tournament, the Barcelona teenager was valued at around 80 million euros. Then he played every match for Spain, helped them concede just 1 goal, shut down France in the semi-final, won the trophy and took home the Best Young Player award. A conservative estimate puts him around 100 million euros. That is a rise of roughly 20 million in one tournament. And that makes every conversation with Barcelona considerably more expensive now. Cubarsí is 19. He starts for Barcelona, passes through pressure like a midfielder, reads danger early, and now has proof he can handle the biggest games in football. Before the tournament, clubs were buying potential. After it, they would be buying a World Cup winner. The problem is that nobody can really buy him. Barcelona have him tied down until 2029 and have no reason to sell. So his value may have risen more than almost anyone here, but it is paper value. The World Cup did not make Cubarsí easier to sign, it made him virtually untouchable. Next up, Pedro Porro, whose tournament may have added 15 million euros to his value. Porro entered valued at around 35 million. Everyone knew what he could do going forward. He could overlap, cross, create, and arrive in the box. But there were questions about whether he could defend well enough to become Spain's permanent right-back. Porro scored his first international goal against Austria. Then, in the semi-final against France, he defended his side, scored Spain's second goal, and was named player of the match. He started the final as Spain completed one of the best defensive campaigns in modern World Cup history. A valuation around 50 million euros now feels reasonable. That is a rise of about 15 million. But more importantly, Porro changed category. He is no longer just an attacking Premier League fullback. He is a proven defender in a position where elite clubs constantly need quality. Tottenham know what happened, which is why his long-term contract matters. Barcelona have been linked, but Spurs can now point to his tournament and demand a premium. Then there is Manu Kone, and this is where performance becomes negotiation power. Kone entered valued at around 50 million euros. He was not guaranteed to start for France, but when Aurélien Tchouaméni was unavailable, Kone stepped in and gave France exactly what they needed: power, ball carrying, defensive coverage, press resistance, and the ability to move through midfield without slowing the attack. He started important knockout matches and showed he could handle elite international football. Roma can now reasonably demand around 60 million euros. That gives Kone an estimated rise of 10 million, but the real change is in the conversation. Before the tournament, buyers could ask whether he belonged at the highest level. After watching him perform for France, Roma can point to the tape and say yes. And when several rich clubs want the same powerful midfielder, the price moves in one direction. Folarin Balogun is another player who used the World Cup to repair his market value. Balogun arrived valued at around 40 million euros, but his time at Monaco had been uneven. His stock had cooled since leaving Arsenal, and there were questions about whether he could become the reliable top-level striker many expected. Then he scored 3 goals for the United States. Suddenly, the movement looked sharp again. The runs behind defenders were dangerous. The pressing had purpose. Most importantly, the finishing appeared on the biggest stage. Monaco can now ask for around 50 million euros. That is a rise of roughly 10 million, and in a market where half of Europe needs a striker, that price may not scare buyers away. There was controversy around his tournament, but clubs will care more about the goals, his athletic profile, and the fact that he is still 25. Balogun did not become a different striker in a few weeks. He reminded the market why Arsenal once rated him so highly. Next, Deniz Undav may have produced the strangest increase here. He entered valued at around £30 million. Then he scored 3 goals and delivered 2 assists in his first 2 matches for Germany. Against Côte d'Ivoire, he came off the bench, scored twice, and found the winner in stoppage time. 5 goal involvements in 56 World Cup minutes made him one of the tournament's most efficient attackers. His estimated value jumped toward £40 million. The catch is that Stuttgart protected themselves. Undav has a long-term contract and is not easy to buy this summer, but his status has changed. Before the World Cup, he was a late-blooming Bundesliga scorer. After it, he looked like an international impact weapon who could start, come off the bench, link play, and decide games immediately. That kind of player is useful, and expensive once clubs know he can perform under tournament pressure. Now let's talk about Unai Simon. He entered valued at roughly 22 million euros. That felt low for Spain's established number one, but goalkeepers are usually valued below elite outfield players, and athletic clubs' unusual transfer situation means there is rarely a normal market around him. Then Simon kept 7 clean sheets in 8 matches. He conceded only once, won the World Cup, and finished with the Golden Glove. Simon is under contract long-term, and athletic club do not casually sell key players, but after his performance, we can argue that he deserved a move to a bigger club. Before the tournament, Simon was often seen only as a solid and reliable keeper that is occasionally risky with the ball. After 7 clean sheets and a World Cup title, nobody can dismiss him as merely dependable. And then there is Djed Spence. He entered valued at around 30 million euros and started badly against DR Congo, received heavy criticism, and could have disappeared from the tournament. Instead, he recovered. And oh, that boy can run. Spence played in all 8 England matches, became valuable in the knockout rounds, started the semi-final against Argentina, and finished with his reputation transformed. Inter Milan are seriously interested, while Tottenham reportedly want around £30 million. That is roughly 35 million euros, giving him an estimated rise of 5 million. Before the World Cup, Spence looked like a talented squad player with an uncertain future. After it, he looked like a fast, versatile, battle-tested wing-back who could fit into system immediately. And we finish with the biggest percentage riser, Imam Ashour. Ashour entered valued at around 4 million euros. Then he scored Egypt's goal against Belgium, became one of their most visible midfielders, and showed that his intensity, late runs and ball striking could translate beyond Egyptian football. A cautious estimate now places him around 8 million euros. That is only a 4 million increase in raw numbers, but it means his perceived value may have doubled. Before the World Cup, European clubs could treat Ashour as a low-cost gamble. Now, any buyer must negotiate with a club that knows he performed on the biggest stage and knows the world was watching. He may not produce the largest fee here, but doubling your value in 1 month is exactly the kind of story the World Cup creates. So there you have it, 8 players, 8 different kinds of inflation. Cubarsí became a €100 million defender who probably cannot be bought. Porro made Spain's problem position his own. Kone and Balogun gave their clubs bargaining power. Undav became Germany's unlikely goal machine. Simon turned clean sheets into recognition. Spence turned criticism into transfer interest. And Imam Ashour may have doubled his value almost unnoticed. That is the power of the World Cup. It compresses years of scouting into a handful of high-pressure nights, with every director, agent and owner watching. But which rise is real and which club is about to pay for 1 brilliant month? Drop your answer in the comments, smash that like button, subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss the next one. Because the market has already moved and one of these players may be wearing a completely different shirt sooner than anyone expects.
Hey fam, this is your chance to build the jersey collection you've been waiting for. The Goal 90 bundle deal is live. Buy 2 jerseys and get 10% off. Buy 3 and get 15% off. Buy 4 and get a massive 25% off. Club kits, country kits, retro classics, pick your favourites and save big. And yes, every order comes with free worldwide shipping. Goal 90 bundle deal. Buy more, save more. Shop now at Goal 90 Shop.